Cameron Boyce's unexpected death shocked fans around the world, but the recent autopsy report reveals even more devastating truths. While his on-screen presence dazzled audiences, the report exposes hidden health battles that paint a grim picture of his final days. As these heartbreaking details come to light, they force us to confront the unseen struggles of a star who touched so many lives. Cameron Boyce's tragic passing, a heartbreaking loss. Cameron Boyce was a kind young actor who created smiles for thousands through his participation in movies and television series. Just 20 years old, which is pretty young, he succeeded in having high input with his acting. He was loved by all for his role as Carlos in the series of The Descendants, where he was known for being talented and kind. On July 6, 2019, it is with great sadness that Cameron Boyce passed away. Because of his young age and many unfulfilled promises, this news shocked the whole world. The atmosphere felt like a heavy and dark cloud had just appeared in the sky and overpowered the brightness of the star Cameron. He was preparing, before that sad incident, for the premiere of The Descendants 3, from the film series that he adored so much. It was huge, and it was waited on with a lot of longing. Cameron had worked hard on this film, and it was supposed to be a happy celebration where fans could come together and enjoy the movie, cheering for all the hard work of the cast. He was never there to celebrate that event with excitement and joy. The night before his death, Cameron had a good dinner with his family. There were most likely a lot of stories, laughter, and sharing of daily experiences, enjoying each other's company. This ordinary, loving moment turned out to be so valuable because it was one of the last times they were together before the tragedy struck. This was that last moment of getting close and being happy before everything in the world changed drastically. One of the last posts he shared on his Instagram was a sensitive black and white photo of himself in profile. The photo was taken during an interview with a magazine called ID. It was special because it captured this reflective moment of him, Cameron. Now this picture has turned into a memorial for him, reminding fans and friends of his thoughtful gestures in life and the positive energy he had brought into this world. Cameron Boyce had a big heart and a bright smile. His artistry allowed people of any age to find relatable and endearing characters. When he passed away, a huge hole was created in the hearts of many. It was as if a star had fallen out of the sky when for so long it had shone so bright. The pain was felt quite intensely among his fans, friends, and family members who miss him so much. Even though he is no longer with us, his memory lives on. People remember him through his movies and the joy he brought into their lives. His spirit and goodness will remain in our minds, like a cherished memory that outlives all things. With every movie that Cameron did, and all that you would have heard about him, let this be a point to remember the joy he shared with the world. It is okay to be sad. It is equally important to know all the wonderful things he did and how he made the world brighter. Of course, through it all, Cameron Boyce reminds one that even when life can be downright sad and sometimes even unfair, the love and joy we can share with others may make all the difference. Just as the stars in the sky shine out to be seen brightly, so too will Cameron's light be remembered and cherished, always in the hearts of those who knew and loved him. Victor Boyce's heartfelt reflections. The death of Cameron Boyce was the saddest and most shocking moment for everybody, but more to his family. His dad, Victor Boyce, was interviewed by Good Morning America, where he spoke about how really heartbroken they were when it happened. Imagine within a second everything is fine, then suddenly, out of nowhere, something that utterly saddened you happened, and you did not expect it at all. That's how Victor felt after his son's demise. Victor Boyce was too shocked, saying, there was no way to know in hours my son would be dead. That just means they didn't feel anything like this would happen this quickly. It was like a sudden storm that came out of nowhere, and it was heavy to the surroundings. Cameron Boyce was one of a kind. He had this charm and energy about him that was incomparable. His dad, Victor, couldn't stop himself from telling stories of how Cameron stood out in a crowd. He said, "I think Cameron of the four of us just has like the most swag ever." In using the word swag, Victor meant that Cameron had that je ne sais quoi, some sort of magic in that sparkle that sets him apart and makes him so lovable. Victor Boyce also remembered moments when Cameron's charisma shone through. Charisma is that specific something that one possesses that makes him quite interesting and pleasant to be around. Cameron would make people smile and actually be happy with just his presence. He was as uplifting as a ray of sunshine. His father mentioned that Cameron was not only a star on the screen, but also a very kind and caring guy off-screen. He had a big heart and was always thinking of others. Even though Cameron was an actor, he never got big-headed and remained down to earth, never letting fame change who he really was. His family and friends remember him as someone who cared deeply about the people around him. Victor even shared how much Cameron loved being around his family. He loved his family's company, and they would spend a great deal of time doing things together. Dinner would be an occasion, and they would watch movies or just talk about one's day. These were moments to cherish, and now, after Cameron's death, these moments have become even closer to them. Whichever time Victor had to talk about his son, he felt pride and was saddened at the same instant. He was proud of all that Cameron did in his life. It is always sad when one has to accept the loss of a child. It's like having a beautiful picture of a rainbow and then find out that the rainbow is no longer there. Of course, the rainbow is gone, but the beauty of it stays in your mind. Victor Boyce's reflections bring us back to the time we have with our loved ones. Although Cameron's life was short, the love and memories he built with his family will always remain. His dad's words give insight into how much Cameron meant to those who knew him and how much he is missed. The story of Cameron Boyce through his dad teaches us all too well just how different and crucial it is to cherish the ones we love. Although much shorter than the life anybody wanted or expected for Cameron, his impact on people's lives was enormous. The charisma, kindness, and joy he'd bring into people's lives will be remembered the same as some kind of story we always want to hear from time to time. The Autopsy Report, a revealing diagnosis. A very unique young performer that brought much of people's happiness was Cameron Boyce. For everyone who knew him, his sudden death was regrettable. Doctors examine closely when something like this occurs to ascertain the cause. Called an autopsy, this analysis clarifies crucial issues regarding the cause of the death. For Cameron specifically, the doctors discovered that his sudden death was caused by sudden unexpected death in epilepsy, or SUDEP for short. Let us dissect this to help us to grasp it better. Epilepsy is the disorder marked by seizures. Like large-scale electrical storms in the brain, seizures can cause the body to behave in non-normal manner. Strong storms occasionally cause someone to lose consciousness or experience physical shaking. Though Cameron was on medication to help control his epilepsy, his brain experienced these storms. Cameron was on levetiracetam, a medication. Consider it as your umbrella, which keeps you dry during rain. Cameron was supposed to be kept secure and shielded from the major storms raging inside his brain by this medication. Nevertheless, occasionally a major storm might strike without warning, even with the umbrella. Cameron sadly experienced a seizure on the day he went away. His epilepsy accounted for this seizure. Cameron's epilepsy turned out to be non-traumatic, meaning no incident or accident caused it. It was merely the way his illness was causing his brain to function. Though Cameron was on medication to control his epilepsy, occasionally these seizures can still occur. It's like attempting to stop a storm with an umbrella. Occasionally the rain is too strong and cannot be totally contained. The autopsy report helped explain why it was so unexpected and sudden. The doctors tried everything they could to grasp what transpired. Remember that many people live with and manage daily from the illness known as epilepsy. Among such persons was Cameron Boyce, who made every effort to look after himself by utilizing medication and consulting doctors. Still, life may be erratic even with all the correct tools at hand. People's knowledge of Cameron's illness and the autopsy report clarified events. It was a means of knowledge for everyone that Cameron's death was connected to the way his brain was functioning, rather than any action he did or did not do. It reminds individuals that occasionally, despite utmost care, unanticipated events can occur. Cameron's narrative reminds us also to treat those with health difficulties kindly and sympathetically. Everybody can have epilepsy. Those who have it are courageous and strong for daily challenges. Cameron confronted his affliction with bravery, much as he was a shining light in the realm of performing. The tragic sequence of events. Living in a shared house with pals, Boyce was... Something quite tragic happened one day that completely changed everything. Boyce's pals began to worry since he hadn't emerged from his room as he often would have. When they opened the door to check on him, they discovered him still asleep. For them, this was indeed quite terrifying. They got right to doing CPR, a technique for someone not breathing. Pressing on his chest, they aimed to get him breathing once more. They also appealed for paramedics and doctors, who are equipped to manage crises. The doctors attempted everything to save Boyce, but they were unable to assist him, even though they arrived as quickly as they could. They decided at 2:35 p.m. Boyce had died. Investigating these circumstances, the Los Angeles County Medical Examiner noted in a report that Boyce's pals had opted to follow up on him since he hadn't emerged from his room as planned. When someone has epilepsy, their brain may periodically experience bursts of electrical activity known as a seizure. Like a violent storm in the brain, a seizure can cause the sufferer to tremble or exhibit other odd motions. One can experience this both awake and asleep. Leading authority on epilepsy, Dr. Orrin Devinsky provided some insightful analysis on the reasons for the exceptionally dangerous nature of seizures experienced during sleep. He told the New York Times that the area of the brain in charge of our breathing may malfunction during a violent seizure. This is quite important as the respiratory center in our brain ensures that we continue to breathe even in sleep. One may not get adequate oxygen without this part operating as it should. Consider it as an automobile with an automatic system designed to maintain its safe motion on its own. Should the system fail suddenly, the car might find itself in jeopardy. In the same vein, the body may not get the oxygen it requires should the respiratory center in the brain malfunction during a seizure, which can cause major issues. Cs vary greatly. While some are really short, others could continue longer. A seizure occurring during sleep can be more difficult to detect and might last for some time before anyone knows what is happening. For those with epilepsy, this makes having a strategy to be safe quite crucial. Sometimes, particularly when someone is asleep, doctors monitor for seizures using specialized equipment. These devices can notify someone experiencing a seizure so they may obtain aid immediately. This is like having a unique alarm system that sounds should something go wrong, so ensuring the individual receives the required assistance right away. People with epilepsy also should discuss their illness with their family and friends. Everyone therefore understands what to do should a seizure strike. Having a support system helps persons with epilepsy stay safe, much as we use seatbelts in cars to prevent injury. The observations of Dr. Devinsky serve to remind us of the need to realize the hazards and being ready. Knowing these hazards will enable everyone to act appropriately to ensure the safety of those with epilepsy. This knowledge enables us to assist our epileptic friends and relatives in having all they need to remain healthy and content. Therefore, when we learn about seizures or epilepsy, we should keep in mind the need to be knowledgeable and ready. Learning more about these issues and spreading that knowledge will enable us all to contribute to keep everyone safe and ensure that we are prepared to provide support when needed. The Boyce family's ongoing efforts. Victor and Libby Boyce have been extremely diligent in helping others learn more about epilepsy, particularly a unique type known as SUDEP. Sudden, unexpected death in epilepsy is shortened as SUDEP. It can be really terrifying when someone with epilepsy dies suddenly. Victor and Libby chose to launch the Cameron Boyce Foundation to aid in change following the death of their son Cameron. They wish to educate everyone on epilepsy and the need of knowing about the hazards such as SUDEP. They are acting to ensure that none else must go through what they did. The Cameron Boyce Foundation has thus so far raised a lot of money, $1.5 million. That's a lot of money. This money is used to assist studies aimed at advancing knowledge of epilepsy among doctors and researchers, so enabling improved means of treatment for those affected. Victor and Libby discussed their desire to educate others in one quite poignant appearance on The Kelly Clarkson Show. They related their personal narrative and their efforts at improving things. "When you have seizures in your sleep, it's a little bit more risky, and so we were not well informed," Libby explained, stressing something quite crucial. She meant that since it's more difficult to observe if something goes wrong, having seizures while asleep can be particularly harmful. Furthermore, those who lack knowledge of this could not be as ready as they ought to be. Victor and Libby are thus especially committed to disseminating the knowledge and ensuring that everyone understands more about epilepsy and SUDEP. Imagine yourself playing a game and not knowing the rules. This might be perplexing and result in improper game performance. On the other hand, you can play better and remain safe if someone shows you the rules. Victor and Libby wish to impart to everyone the rules regarding epilepsy so that everyone may be safe and, should they so need it, seek the appropriate treatment. The work of the Boyce family is similar to shining a large torch on a shadowy road. Everyone should be able to see and comprehend the hazards, hence they also wish to teach others safe behavior. Through fundraising for research and narrative sharing, they are enabling others to be illuminated and ensuring that more people know what to do and how to be ready. Their efforts are very significant since they significantly improve the quality of life for persons living with epilepsy. They are supporting research aimed at one day producing fresh therapies or perhaps a cure. Through sharing their stories, they are also teaching others so that more people may grasp what epilepsy is and how it influences daily life. Victor and Libby are increasing awareness as much as they are money-raising. They wish everyone to be aware that epilepsy requires understanding and attention. They are demonstrating how every one of us can cooperate to assist others and improve things even in the face of something as tough as losing a loved one. Thus, keep in mind that the Cameron Boyce Foundation is doing something quite unique the next time you learn about it or come across a story about Victor and Libby Boyce. They are ensuring that everyone understands how to remain safe and be ready, and are also educating everyone about epilepsy. Their efforts serve as a sobering reminder that by compassion, sharing, and education, every one of us can change things even in the most trying circumstances. Everyone who knew Cameron Boyce and loved him found great shock upon his death. His passing impacted the hearts of his many supporters as well as his family and friends, so it was not only a personal loss. Everywhere, people felt the grief and the effects of losing someone so young and vibrant. The Cameron Boyce Foundation was founded by his family to honor his memory. They aim to ensure that others are spared the kind of anguish they experience. They are tirelessly raising money for significant studies and raising knowledge of SUDEP and epilepsy. Through this, they want to stop such tragedies as well as assist those living with epilepsy. The initiatives of the foundation center on difference-making. They are enlightening the public, helping researchers develop fresh medicines, and highlighting epilepsy. Through all this, Victor and Libby Boyce are preserving Cameron's legacy and transforming their grief into action, capable of transforming lives and offering hope to others. The heartbreaking details of Cameron Boyce's autopsy report shed light on the tragic loss of a young star. For more updates and insightful content, please like and subscribe to our channel. Your support means everything to us.